Hi, Pradnya. Hi, Richa.
Hi, Tanu.
Hi.
I don't know.
Hi, we can start. I don't know why people haven't joined, so I will not be able to do the class like this. So, anyway, today we have committed, so let's do this. So, some,
Tanu, I'm here. I'll need like 5 minutes to switch on my camera.
yeah, ठीक है. Some of them have messaged me. They cannot join and they will go through the recording, but the rest, yeah. All right, let's start. ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः Okay. Hi, Anita.
Hi, Tanu.
Okay. So, did you all get a chance to go through the Vedanta treatise? I think Sadhna had shared the PDF with all of you.
Yeah, I actually went through it an hour back. I was just reading
Our
the first. Yeah, but I was like, it was like little bit, I just need time to just read it.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
after the
It's
class, I'll
not
like,
an easy book to understand. How about you, Pratnya? You are on
yeah,
mute.
Tanu, I
You're
just
mute. You're on
one more thing that maybe we are like since last many days we are accustomed with Gita and we were in that flow. So while reading it, I was finding it was like I was still stuck with Gita. I was like there.
No,
So I
so
didn't know.
what we have to do is, so first of all, if this is the attendance, I'm not going to do Saturday class. So we continue with Tuesday's class, and the people who do it with recording anyway, they will continue to do with the recording. For you all who are in Tuesday class as well, you have to ensure that you continue with your, Tuesday, not Tuesday, Gita studies as it is. Okay. And see, obviously, this book is actually a prelude. It should be studied before you start Gita. And yet it is harder to understand. So I understand that, but then you continue with your Gita studies. And of course, I'm there wherever you feel stuck in any of the verses and explanations of all of that. So please feel free to reach out to me, reach out in the group. Group is very much there. Okay, or you can also bring questions here, but again, we have to see how the group dynamics are, right? Yeah, Pratnya, you were saying something?
Yeah, I just bought the book yesterday. I think I missed her PDF in the group. I was able to read maybe like the first I think the first section of the first chapter, not the whole first chapter. I think where it's just about starting to introduce what is Vedanta and
Yeah.
just that part, not
Okay.
the whole chapter yet.
ठीक है. No problem. So what we will do is we will start. Okay. Richa, are you here?
Yes, Tanu. I'm here. I did read the first chapter.
Great.
Uh, I found it rather, perhaps I found it easier to understand than Gita
Yeah, there will be varied feedback. I know
because
that.
because it's very logical, right? It's kind of giving you the context to Gita, saying that how can you basically apply what you like. It's not asking you to take a sannyas, right? It is asking you as to in your daily life how can
Hmm.
you basically apply Gita.
Hmm.
I find that more, you know, what do you say, easier to relate to.
Hmm.
So from that perspective, whatever I've read little bit, a couple of chapters,
Yeah.
it takes a little time for that layering to set in and to get that context into your own life.
Hmm.
Whereas this, I find it a little easier,
Okay.
to relate to.
Yeah. So Swamiji has, okay, so for everyone new here, so Rishita, Richa, I would like request all of you to come on the video. Hi, Shweta. So, so I was just wondering if we have such low attendance. I can't do a Saturday class, but now I see people coming in. So that gives me some confidence. Okay. So, um, yeah, so we were just discussing that I think Sadhna had shared the PDF on the group as well about of Vedanta Treatise Chapter 1. So we were just discussing how is it different from Gita, Bhagavad
Okay.
Gita.
Okay.
So, Swamiji, so I have so Swami A. Parthasarathy ji, he is the founder of the Vedanta Institute, and this institute is in Lonavala, near Pune. So I have been studying Bhagavad Gita with his disciples since last 2-3 years now, right? 2 years, I think, yeah, not 3 years. So, and I got this urge to kind of start this circle because no matter how much you have studied, how much sadhana you have done with the scriptures, it is never going to be enough, and you will never feel ready enough to, share this knowledge and wisdom with other people. And so I have studied Bhagavad Gita once, and now I am like doing it the second time. So when I was approaching towards the end of Bhagavad Gita, when I was reading it the first time, a very beautiful thing was written in one of the chapters, is that the greatest form of service is to share this knowledge ahead. So don't wait for you to feel ready, because then when you are waiting for yourself to feel ready, it is actually your ego. Ego will always create this facade of you not being enough, you not being good enough, you not being ready enough. So all of those drama is written, it's created by the ego. And when I say ego, it's the smaller self. It's not the higher self. The higher self will never, pull you down, push you down. So I got that clarity and it clicked. And I'm like, and I have been, so most of you have been studying with me different things, right, over the last few years. So I've tried to motivate a lot of you to, join online Gita with my teachers. But somehow nobody has joined. So then I thought, this should not stop you from receiving this knowledge. And that's why I started the Tuesday Circle. And this circle I have started so that all the people like Shweta, you are, in the US, and all the working, people who cannot come on a Tuesday 4 o'clock can join in. So that's the context. Anita, your hand is up, so you can ask. As long as we have like less people, we can definitely have more interaction, more conversation. We have more people, we'll have to be selective. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, Anita.
No, nothing. I just, when Richa actually shared that this is way easier to understand. Actually, while reading it, I was a little emotional. I don't know why I was so much attached to Gita.
Yeah.
So when I was reading it, I found it,
Okay, I'll
yeah, we
stop
can
you there.
understand.
I'll stop you there.
Yeah.
Attached to Gita, where this attachment comes from?
Attachment.
So Pranaya is smiling.
I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, and you
From,
are being very honest. So, Anita
yeah.
has been studying Bhagavad Gita with me in the Tuesday class. So now she's feeling so attached to Gita that she's feeling emotional. Maybe
Yes.
grieving over, losing her attachment to Gita. So where is the attachment? And this is very important for all of you as well. Where does attachment come from? And I'll give you some examples from my own life. Where does attachment come from?
Nothing
And it's
is
a good
coming up.
attachment. I'm not even judging it. It's a good attachment. But where does that come from? Anyone can answer in the chat, or you can just unmute and speak.
Ego.
Ego. So now you see, you are on the spiritual path. You are studying the scriptures, which is the highest form of knowledge available in this world, okay? And yet you are attached. And not just you, Anita, it can happen to all of us. It has happened to me. It does happen to me now also, right? And there was a point in time in my life when if I haven't studied Gita on a particular day, I would like really beat myself up for that, which is an attachment. It's a different manifestation of my attachment towards knowledge, you know. So we, even if we are doing something novel, not novel, noble, yet we can get attached. And these kind of attachments are very subtle in nature. This is a very subtle attachment where we might question ourselves कि मैं तो कुछ अच्छा करने जा रही हूँ, इसमें attachment कहाँ से आ गया, इसमें ego कहाँ से आ गया? But that is how ego is always at play. So it will not allow you to smoothly transition from studying Bhagavad Gita to studying something which is actually easier than Bhagavad Gita, supposed to be easier. You getting it?
Yes, that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
So, but
Thank you
yeah,
for sharing that. So because this also gives us some context of, a conversation around this. So where all do you think, to all of you, so Simran, Pradnya, Shweta, Girish, hi, good to see you. Girish, Sadhana, Richa, all of you. Question to all of you is, where in your life do you experience subtle attachment? If you do not understand subtle, you can ask me first. And you can just put it in the chat.
Yeah, I would like to know what is subtle
Yeah.
attachment.
I would also like to know what's subtle, because
Yeah,
for me,
so
attachment
subtlest-
is,
Yeah, go on. What is attachment for you, Richa?
I don't know. So, for instance, I can give you example, and perhaps we can discuss and understand. So, like, I'm extremely attached to my work because I derive my self-worth from there.
Yeah.
Anything related to work, if it is like if there is anything, so that is the first thing. Like when I think of
Why do
attachment,
you say you are attached to your work? What happens if work is not there?
so there are two aspects to it. One is financial independence.
Okay.
And second is deep sense of worth. I feel I am worthy.
I'll pause you there. So you said very beautiful example. Two ways in which you're attached. One is your financial independence. That is gross attachment. It's tangible. If I don't work, where do I get food on the table from? Okay. Deep sense of self-worth is a subtle attachment. Which, Richa, not everybody like you. There would be many more people who have this, they derive their deep sense of self-worth from their work, right? But they might not be aware. So for them, it doesn't exist. For you, it exists and it is subtle in nature. But because you've been doing this work for some time now, you're able to catch it. But you still don't know that it's a subtle attachment. But you
I want to know what is the difference between the two.
Difference between the two is subtle is not the fact that you are not aware that it's a subtle attachment makes it subtle attachment. For now.
Okay.
You getting it? So the more you study Bhagavad Gita, the more you study Vedanta, you will, become more and more aware of many subtler versions of the same attachment.
So I want to understand this a little, because I tell you, so perhaps I don't understand subtle attachment right now. So what's happening for me is that why do I say that I'm attached to my work? That if my work, because there are times when you really get tired and you want to take a break. And I've been thinking about this for some time now, but I cannot imagine my life without my work.
Yeah.
I get really jittery when I think of the fact that, oh my God, so I know that 1 week, 10 days I'll perhaps enjoy, but after that I'll start feeling. So I feel it's a very strong attachment and not really subtle. I mean, I don't know how to then, that's why.
Okay, stay with that. You will also, so sometimes language is also not enough to explain the subtle aspects of this knowledge.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because when we try to confine it in words, we are also doing some kind of disservice to the the magnanimity of this inconceivable, imperceivable knowledge. Getting it?
Mm.
Yeah. While still the quest is always going to be there. That's what makes us seekers,
Mm.
right? So that quest will always be there to know what we do not know. And yet there will always be a vast portion of what we do not know. And we have to be okay with that. And a lot of times you will have a lot of insights and realizations for which you will not have words and language to express what you have just realized, which is also okay.
Hmm.
These are the subtle aspects. You getting it? So you
Yeah.
will get it. Stay with the question, but question is very important. Thank you for asking that. Sadhna and Girish, who wants to go?
Yeah, it's me. So, so as parents, so when our kids are small, are young, so our thought of they do not know what is right, or we know what is right for them. Is this a subtle attachment?
Come again, can
Trying
you
to
just
push.
sorry?
Like trying to push, like I think where he's coming from, trying to push certain ideas, saying that this is very important for the child to learn.
Example music. Don't
Okay.
listen to this music. You listen to this music because I like that. So pushing.
Yeah, could be a form of gross attachment, not even subtle attachment. It's a gross attachment.
Gross, there
You
is
do it
another.
because I want it,
Ha.
not
So
because.
want it, not want it. Maybe.
So if there is an
Because someone's right
awareness,
is someone's
very
wrong. Yeah.
strong awareness कि भाई जैसे I come from a Hindustani classical music background, so my father has been like demeaning all Bollywood music all my life, right? So if I tell my daughter the same thing, it's an attachment, carried forwarded with the generation, right? But if I'm aware of it and passing it on knowingly, intentionally, it's a gross attachment. Subtle ones are the ones which we are not aware, and one day just the penny drops. Oh my God, I'm doing this. So, for example, I'll give you my example again. It's always easier to understand and relate. Is that my journey with Hindustani vocal music has been very, very rough because my father used to really scold me because if I am not getting the notes right or music right. And now when my daughter is learning it, I do the same thing with her. Even if she's doing it right, I would, raise my expectations and just kind of make this whole experience very bitter for her because it was bitter for me. So it's not so the day I became aware of it, I understood that this was something very subtle, which I've been carrying forward, from my father. This was not in my awareness. So इसमें gross और subtle क्या हुआ? Gross ये हुआ कि भाई Hindustani classical music is really good and you must learn, and I have learned, you must also learn. Subtle is somehow the experience around it has to be of struggle and sacrifice and some some kind of uncomfortableness, which is not necessary. Somehow through the older generation used to feel everything has to be about sacrifice and struggle. It's no longer the case in our generation. It can be about pleasure. You can learn something with pleasure, with enjoyment. Doesn't need to come with struggle and sacrifice. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, I'm just going through the discipline and commitment. What is this, Pradnya? Can you just unmute and tell me?
So disciplines and commitments in the past have been something I used to take it a little easy. Like, okay, I'm feeling low today, so put it on the back burner, forget about it.
Yeah.
In the recent times, I've put in a lot of effort to do it. So it always to me feels like I have to put in an effort. But on the days when I don't do it, I realize that emptiness I feel, is something new to me. Like,
Yeah.
I used to be okay with it to the like I became from careless to somewhere caring about it, which I am now, trying not to let it affect me to the point where I start feeling again low because I'm not doing those things.
Got it. So that awareness that if I'm not disciplined enough, it, makes me some emptiness, emptiness ka feeling aata hai.
Yeah.
Awareness. is of subtle attachment that you have with discipline.
Yeah.
You getting it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great example. Richa, is it becoming clearer for you with these examples? And it's a journey.
Yeah.
Understanding of this itself is a journey. So take everything as a journey.
Yep.
Yeah. Anita, workout routine is gross attachment. And my work is subtle attachment. How? Can you explain?
No, I wrote both as subtle attachment.
Both are
I
subtle attachment. How? What makes you think that?
The same thing, like as Prerna said, what like when we do this workout, like the example of reading, studying Gita, it was like when sometimes we stop and then we realize how much attached we are to these kind of routine. Like every day I do it, and if for some reason I last month, 2 months back, I went through a knee like twist, and then I could not do it, and for some time, some days I could not digest that I am not able to go to the gym, I cannot walk out. So it made me restless. But later on, I understood how much attached and it is affecting me in a negative way. So that one, and
Attachment is always going to affect you. That is
yes.
right. In
And
some
you
way,
don't
yes.
realize it till you realize it. Like you don't realize that much that you're attached to that particular routine.
Yeah.
And work is the same thing. When I was working and then I had to leave my job for some reason, yeah, I didn't know what to do. I was like it. I was doing something, but I could not, cope up with that fact. I could not adjust at home. But then later on, it took me time. Like, today when I was studying, what I thought, like I was reading Vedanta Treatise, the first chapter, and then I felt that I'm so much attached to another book, and I enjoyed it so much that leaving it, even for a temporary period, it felt like crying. And I was like, hey, it's like Saturday routine is difficult for me. Maybe sometimes I won't be able to, attend the class. And then I realized that I'm attached to something, and I have learned also how to be detached from these kind of things. So then I thought, no, let me just go to the class. I have to detach myself, and then let me see. So that way we realize it. So these two were my
So there will
satellite.
always be grief. Okay. So when you move from attachment to detachment consciously,
Yeah, I just
always-
thought like nothing is permanent, so I have to.
yes, nothing is
Yeah, nothing is
permanent.
permanent.
Nothing is
So, yeah.
permanent. But this work that we are doing together of, studying the scripture and getting this knowledge which will become your wisdom as you apply. So when knowledge becomes wisdom only when you apply it in your daily life. Simple. Till then वो सिर्फ किताबों में अक्षर हैं और शब्द है और वाक्य है, उसका कुछ भी आपकी लाइफ में कुछ मतलब नहीं है उसका. So knowledge becomes wisdom only when you are applying it in your everyday life. It is as simple as that. And when this knowledge becomes wisdom for all of us, it is going to stay with us forever. And what do I mean by that? Shweta, I'll come to your answer. I've read that. What do I mean by knowledge when it becomes wisdom will always stay with us?
When you are aware and you know about yourself more, knowledge is knowing about others, the outer stuff, and wisdom is more about intrinsic internal knowledge. So I mean to say, if I know myself, how I behave, what is the reason of my behavior, I will not be behaving in a particular way. So
Okay.
for me, that is wisdom. For me, knowing myself is the biggest task. Forget about others. So that is wisdom for me.
Yeah, it is the biggest task for sure. So I'll just write it down for everybody here. You can also write it down in your notes. And I have requested all of you to have a different book for this, for the notes of Vedanta. Knowledge becomes wisdom only through embodiment बोल सकते हो या application.
Implementation.
Yeah. Implementation.
What I feel, Tanu, what happens when knowledge becomes wisdom?
Marriage.
You don't
Did you
knowledge.
knowledge? Okay, I'm sorry.
I said what
Marriage,
happens when
marriage.
knowledge becomes wisdom.
Yeah, okay.
It's you don't expect anything out of it. When the knowledge is enough, and then when there is wisdom, you exactly know the consequences, is what I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
So then there is no expectation. For me, knowing the consequence makes me feel okay. So I don't have to expect anything from this. I know what the expectation should be, but I don't expect. I stop expecting, and then
Yeah.
I'm open. I'm open to however comes my way,
Yes.
whatever comes my way,
Yeah. Even
because
Gita
I have enough.
teaches us that whatever is a natural consequence. So one law which is always at play for all of us is the law of cause and effect. And it is written in as many words in Gita. Law of cause and effect means there is, and Newton's law also says that whatever, there is an equal and opposite reaction to every action. It's a law of cause and effect. So there is always a natural consequence of everything. And like you're saying, that then if I have converted this knowledge into wisdom, I'm naturally, in acceptance of the natural consequence of whatever action was taken
Yes.
or
Yes.
not taken. When inaction is also an action. Not taking an action is also an action. It's a
Yeah.
choice, it's a decision, right? So, आपको पता है कि ये इसका cause है, ये इसका effect होगा.
Yeah.
You are in absolute acceptance.
Yeah.
And that is where we all actually want to reach. Theoretically, we know that. Theoretically, we know that. And that's why I told Richa as well that even understanding this, what is gross and what is subtle, is a journey by itself. And we are all here to journey. There is no end point. Okay? Also to complete this part which I wrote about grief. Okay. So when I'll give you my example, I used to live in one city which was like a very beautiful touristy city in Germany, and then my husband got a job in another city which was non-touristy, very wild, and I have spent, I think, 2 to 3 days just crying over it, just because I had to move from that city to another city because I was so attached to the natural beauty of that place. So that was an attachment. At that point, I did not know this. Today, with all the knowledge and work that I've done, I understand that what made me cry at that time. Similarly, we get attached to people, we attach to places, we get attached to experiences of life, right? We get attached to books, right? So attachment is something that will, when you want to let go of that attachment consciously, you will have to grieve over it. What is grief? What is grief?
Feeling
Yeah. You can also write it in the chat because not everybody will be able to speak. You can just also just put in your points in the chat. What do you mean by grieving over something? I think mostly we, associate the word grief with, I love that, unexpressed love. Richa, unmute. Richa,
Yeah.
go on.
So I feel I do truly believe that grief is nothing but unexpressed love, be it with the things that you possess or be it with the people that are no longer there in your life. It's just the things that you never said or you never realized that you felt for the person or for the for even for the things. So for instance, if my favorite watch is broken, or if my you really feel that, oh God, I've lost this thing. And I think it's just unexpressed love.
So my question to you is, to not feel grief, how can I express my love so that I don't have to feel grief later?
I don't know. I don't have an answer to that.
Even I
Because-
don't. I'm just asking.
Because
This is
I
very
really
beautiful
believe,
what you just shared. unexpressed love is very beautiful. But I'm just trying to.
So I'll tell you the context from where I perhaps derived that very early on. We used to live, like, my dadi has always stayed with us till her last, breath. And I have been immensely, obviously, attached with her in all possible ways. Um, but I never used to express it. For me, she was always like there. So whenever I would go home from school or from college, for that matter, she was always there at home. I would spend some time with her, and all that. But I just realized, when she passed away, is when I realized that there are so many things that I have never told her, but she meant so much to me. I think that was a big learning. And when I started realizing and started losing other things or people or whatever, like any loss from my perspective is that the things that I could never express or never realized, perhaps.
Got it.
That realization, I believe, makes me value things more.
Okay.
So I have consciously started doing, after my dadi passed away, of course, I've consciously started ensuring that I'm telling things that I really feel, or even with things that I really love, I usually write and acknowledge. Suppose if
Yeah.
there's a favorite show or a favorite, thing that I own, I usually write and acknowledge the thing. Why do I like it so much? And somehow that kind of sets me free.
Yes, very beautiful. Yeah, so you've answered it.
So
Acknowledge, and don't take things for granted is in a way going to help us to get less attached. I wouldn't say zero attachment,
yeah, there is still
but
attachment.
attached. And also what Anita said earlier, that you know what, this is all temporary. So while she was having this conversation with herself that, oh my God, Bhagavad Gita chhod ke abhi I'll have to study this and I'm not able to understand this. Like it is all temporary. So attachment then kind of dissipates when you understand what is the nature of this life. So what is permanent in our lives? Question to all of you. Put it in the chat. What is permanent? What is impermanent? And I have to still come back to grief. So while you write, grief basically, like Richa said, you might not even realize that there is unexpressed love or there was attachment. So when you lose something, okay, you will feel this emotion of grief to the degree of your attachment with that person, experience, thing, place, whatever. Now, when you're feeling that emotion, allow yourself to feel it. Like fully leave your system. Even if that means you have to lock up yourself in the room for the next 1 week, allow yourself to go. Because the next time something similar happens, your level of attachment will be much lesser. And also, if you are not doing this work, you're not studying the scriptures, because studying the scriptures, by the virtue of studying the scriptures itself, that clarity will seep in and the knowledge will become wisdom ki bhai sab kuch temporary hi hai. All experiences, all places, people also in our lives, our parents included, our children, our own life. Today we are alive, next moment nobody knows, nobody can really guarantee, right? So everything is transient, everything is impermanent. So yeah, so my question to all of you was, so closing the loop on the grief part is allow yourself to grieve. No matter, it may sound or it may look like it's very insignificant, एक बहुत छोटी सी चीज के ऊपर आपको उतना दुख हो सकता है, so be it. Be in full acceptance of the grief that you're feeling for losing something, and it's okay. Allow yourself to feel that fully. Okay, so I'm just going through the chat. Self is permanent. Yeah, self is permanent. Self with the capital S. So there is a self with a smaller s, which is the ego self or the smaller self. And so self with the capital S is the highest self. And in Vedanta, it is also called as the Atman. Atman means Atma, the soul. Okay. And the smaller self is the ego self. Okay. So ego is basically all the conditioning, all the layers of what is not pure and what is not self. Everything is ego. Everything is ego. And mostly it manifests in the form of fear of anything. Okay. Also, it could be safer to say that love is the language of our higher self, and fear is the language of the ego self, the smaller self. Does this make sense? Yeah. Okay. Simran is saying nothing is permanent. So Simran, at least in this
soul
world of
is
impermanence, only the self, which is the Atman,
the soul.
pure consciousness, the soul is permanent. And that is why I said when you have this knowledge, you convert it into wisdom with application, implementation, and embodiment. That wisdom going to travel along with you, as in you as the soul, in your next life. That doesn't go waste. कई
Yes.
लोग मुझे पूछते हैं, अरे आई एम लाइक already 40 now. So 40 in India is like end of life, right? Oh, what should I do with all of this? I should have started early. Nay. There is a soul age, there is a body age. A lot of us doing this work, you can take this for granted that you are a old soul, right? And you are going to carry all the work, what you are doing here in your next life. So that is permanent. So self with the capital S is permanent. The work that you're doing with yourself, that is permanent. So then, how should you live your life with this knowledge? Before that, Simran, you were about to say something. I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to say the same thing. The soul is permanent.
Yeah.
The rest all is attachment, grief. Because everything is just temporary. We do grieve over something for a certain period of time. And then again, we are, I think, back to our routine. It could take 3 days, 4 days, hours, weeks, months. Eventually, we all get into our routine.
Yeah.
Even a loss of a loved ones.
Yeah.
Is so sometimes now I feel at times when there is something to grieve about, I feel like I am going to get better anyway. Why am I grieving about it? So I don't know whether to acknowledge grief like that, like what you said is very important, or this situation of mine. How is it? How do we? I don't know how to put it across. Like my thought is, I am going to anyway get over this grief. Then why do I have to grieve about it?
No, so it doesn't work like that. And so a lot of times we try to, avoid grieving over it because of this one thought that you said. But it doesn't just disappear in the thin air, it stays. It stays in your subtle body.
Okay.
You will not know, and it will play itself out at a later stage when it gets a conducive environment to play itself out. So you have to allow yourself to grieve. With willpower and with conscious effort, we cannot navigate through these things. These are subtle aspects again. Emotions are subtler. Body is gross. Emotion is subtle.
Subtle.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Richa, I'm going through your question. I have a question. Just type, okay. How does it matter what kind of attachment do we hold? Gross or subtle? Our approaches towards letting go of both is different. I'll come to this question in a bit. Before that, I had asked this question. With this knowing what is permanent and what is impermanent, how should we live our lives? This is my question. You can put your answers in the chat. How should you live your life? How should I live my life? Go on. Think, reflect. There is no one answer for this. Shweta is saying through acceptance. Richa is saying this too shall pass. What else? What else? We must live by not expecting things from anybody. Okay. What else? Think. So these classes are not like a monologue. It's interactive and it's mostly reflective and introspective. It will make you think. So thinking is also an art. If anybody feels that thinking happens by default, it doesn't. Thinking is an art which needs to be cultivated, developed with practice. What else? सबसे परफेक्ट आंसर देने के लिए मत सोचो, जो भी आ रहा है ना, just put it. Because I'm a firm believer everything is being channeled through us. So don't stop yourself. Like I didn't stop myself from starting this class, right? If I would have like really waited for my certification, I would have waited for lifetimes, right? So don't stop yourself. Allow it to flow through you. Because divine wisdom sometimes, just kind of flows in its most, rawest form. So allow it to flow. Anita is saying inner growth, be in the world, but don't attach, don't own it. So you are saying you focus on your inner growth. Yeah. Okay. Go with the flow, take a pause when required for any redirection or correction, then restart, start. Okay. Okay. Try to focus in the present. Very, very good. Very nice. Focus on the present, because present moment, the reality in the present moment is the only truth. Like really think about it, meditate on it. You will start realizing ki we'll really live our lives like insane people. We are worried about the past and we are anxious about the future. Never ever in the present. So present moment is the only truth. And your power. This is very nice book called Power of Now. I'm sure you would have heard about this. Right? Your power lives with you for you to be able to execute that power or come from a place of personal power only in the now. आप now में ही changes ला सकते हो. If you are not making any changes in your lives, you are basically recreating your past in the present. Right? If you're not changing any thought, if you're thinking the same thoughts every day, feeling the same emotions every day, and taking the same actions every day, what am I changing? Nothing. And then we say, I am feeling dash. Stuck. But before I have concluded that I am feeling stuck, I am stuck in my thoughts, in my emotions, in my actions, not really doing anything about anything, and then playing this victim card of, oh, I am stuck. Right? So very, very important. So there's this very beautiful line which I usually use to remind myself of what is permanent and what is impermanent is be in the world, but don't be of the world. What does this mean? And before that, we need to discuss what really is impermanent. We have discussed what is permanent. We have discussed what is impermanent in our everyday lives. Give me examples from impermanent things. Unmute.
I think it's there in the Vedanta treatise.
Okay.
It's mentioned saying that it's you and the world. So there's a subject and an object.
Mm-hmm.
Subject which is you, is the only permanent thing. An
Yes.
object, which is the world,
Mm.
it keeps changing each day, every second, every moment.
Yes.
So hence you need to invest more in yourself, because the object, we have made our lives very simple. Like the science has really done quite a bit
Yeah.
to make our lives simpler. We have fan, we have light, we have everything to make our lives very comfortable. Scientists have done their work. What we have not done is the spiritual work,
Yes.
which is knowing self. So
Mm.
I think that answers the question, saying that the world keeps changing each day, and despite of all the things that science has done, we are not happy.
Yeah.
We're
Because
constantly dissatisfied because the work on self has not been done.
yes.
So
Yes.
I think it's there in the book.
So is it safe to say the inner world is permanent, the outer world is impermanent? So when we talk about the outer world, what all comes in the outer world? जिसके साथ हम बहुत बुरी तरीके से अटैच्ड होते हैं, बताओ.
Children.
Children, people, everything,
Pleasures,
manifesting
worldly
everything.
pleasures, desires. I think all our
Desires,
desires.
pleasures, yes. What else? What else? We see somebody having something, immediately we want that. We might deny it on the face of it. नहीं मुझे क्या फर्क पड़ता है, but internally we are actually, wanting to have that as well. So that is a form of subtle desire. Like we spoke about subtle attachment, it's a subtle desire. So I usually give this example. I was scrolling through, Instagram, and I saw one of my friends holidaying in Iceland. Before that day, before that moment, going to Iceland never crossed my mind, but now I want to go to Iceland. So that's a subtle desire, okay, which is not there. It just kind of popped up from somewhere, and on the face of it, I will deny. नहीं मुझे क्या करना है Iceland जाके, मेरे पास तो passport भी नहीं है. But internally, I'm feeling jealous. So because jealousy is there, because I have the subtle I have developed the subtle desire of wanting to go somewhere because somebody else is already there, right? So outer world means everything, all the material things, right? These are all impermanent. Like Richa said, these are objects. Okay? Objects and beings भी बोल सकते हो आप. Beings matlab all the people in our lives we are attached to. All the peoples in our life, they are also impermanent. And as rightfully said by most of you, that is why now that we have this awareness, we have this knowledge, what is permanent, what is impermanent, what is eternal, what is ephemeral. Ephemeral means impermanent, again, transient, right? What is temporary, what is permanent. Now we have this understanding, so we have to focus on the self with the bigger S. तो कैसे करें focus? बताओ, everyone. How do we focus on the self with the capital S?
Working on like studying and working on it. Yeah.
Doing the work, just doing the work. And, no matter what kind of work, inner work you do in your life, by far, and this is my personal experience as well, studying the scriptures is the highest form of inner work one can do. And it will not happen to everybody. A lot of people want to do this work, but just doesn't happen to them. First of all, people do not have awareness कि this could be helpful. A lot of people have this misconception that Gita, abhi still things are changing, but people feel that scriptures are only for oldies, or it will make you old, it will make you aloof, and you might isolate yourself or go to the mountains and stop living your life. It's a misconception. In fact, you be in the world, like I said, you will still be in the world, but you will not be of the world. Now imagine how beautiful that would be, because You will enjoy everything. You will enjoy all the pleasures that life has to bring to you. And yet, absence of it will not affect you. What a beautiful state of being to be in, right? So that is the objective of this knowledge. Swamiji never says that leave your life, leave your family, become a recluse. Even I used to feel this at some point in my journey, because and that's a subtle form of attachment to the knowledge. You become so attached to the knowledge that you lose interest in family life, you lose interest in taking care of your responsibilities. So that is your attachment to the knowledge. The knowledge is giving you that high, spiritual high, right? So you don't want to meet other people, you don't want to indulge in anything which is not giving you that high, because the benchmark is set so high. You want to replicate that experience with every other thing in your life. तो वो भी एक तरह का attachment है. And this can happen to all of you as well who are just getting started with the scriptures. इतना मजा आने लग जाएगा कि आपको लगेगा बाकी सब बेकार है. बाकी सब बेकार है, लेकिन ये जो आपका जो ये मजा आने वाला जो एक फैक्टर है ना, that is your attachment. So you have to be very aware of that and to not get attached. Also, this knowledge is very addictive, for lack of a better word, because it makes you feel so good, but it has to be taken in the right dose. Like it is recommended that you study very little and sit and so I am not saying read, but study. What is the difference between reading and studying? We don't read scriptures, we study it. What is the difference?
Reading is superficial, you just read it, but
Yeah.
studying is applying also, like you understand what is written and then apply it in your life.
Okay.
Grasp the knowledge, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absorption of material, understand and apply. What else? What else is studying mean?
To scan through it.
And through would mean
Scan,
equally,
like,
right? It's like superficial. No?
no, not to understand every bit of it, of what we are reading. No,
So like we had started the class with this. Knowledge becomes wisdom only once you have applied it.
applied.
And for that application to happen, you have to study and not read. And studying means reflection, contemplation,
To connect it,
Curiosity.
sorry?
to connect it with the outer world, what we are reading.
Yeah. So whatever that understanding of that piece of knowledge means for you, whether it comes to you with making some connections with the outer world or with your life in the moment, whatever that understanding comes from, as long as the understanding is coming, that means you're studying. Otherwise it's just words, right? And it will not move the needle for you. Needle as in लाइफ में प्रोग्रेस नहीं होगा कोई. सिर्फ पढ़ रहे होंगे, पढ़ रहे बहुत मजा आ रहा है पढ़ने में, दैट्स इट. वो फिर एकदम ही आप इतने ही ज्यादा अटैच्ड हो जाओगे उस पढ़ाई के साथ कि forget about applying it in your daily life. You are just interested in reading it. So these are all blinding, darkness, path of blinding darkness, right? So just word of caution there, because don't overdo anything. So Sadhana is saying Shravan, Manan and Nidhi Asan. So what is this is, and you can write this down. These are 3 ways in which we study. And what does this mean is Shravan means through listening. Through listening. Listening or reading or watching. Shravan could mean these 3. Listening, reading, watching. That is the first step. You have to acquire that information through reading, watching, or listening. Then Manan. Manan means reflection, contemplation. So it is recommended that you do the study the scriptures every morning in the Satvik hour. We say Satvik hour, which is between 5 to 7 a.m. Okay? Because at that time, your ability to absorb this kind of knowledge is very, very high. But let's say you are not able to wake up at that time, it's okay. Just study it any other time of the day. And then Nidhi Asana is, Manan is reflection, contemplation. Nidhi Asana, actually Nidhi Asana means meditation. तो आपने कुछ पढ़ लिया, उसके ऊपर रिफ्लेक्ट कर लिया, इंट्रोस्पेक्ट कर लिया, तो उसके डीपर पेनिट्रेशन के लिए, as you move through your day, can you allow that one piece of knowledge to penetrate deeply through you by living it? जैसे डिटैचमेंट हम सीख रहे हैं, अटैच नहीं होना चाहिए, ये इम्पर्मानेंट है, ये परमानेंट है, सब सीख लिया, लेकिन जैसी क्लास के बाहर गए, वी फॉल अपार्ट. We get attached to things, we get attached to conversations. उसने मुझे ऐसे कैसे बोल दिया, you know? So there, if this knowledge can make a difference in helping you make a different choice, then you are actually practicing Nidhi Asana. मतलब उसका deeper एक penetration, you are enabling that deeper penetration to happen. Does that make sense? That also is a conscious effort. You have to make that effort to allow the deeper penetration of the knowledge to happen in your everyday life. So this is the third stage where actually knowledge becomes wisdom. Now you understand? Shravan, Manan, Nidhi Asana. Make sense? Okay. It's already 8. So before we go, so we have not started the book, which is fine. Whatever we have discussed today is great, you know. And a lot of times these classes will become like this, that we will not even touch the book and just these conversations, because these conversations will bring up a lot of things which you are moving through in your life, which is very relatable for all of us, right? And we learn from each other, the problems that we bring in the class, the reflections, the insights. So when we meet next time, as you move through this week, keep, you know, writing down whatever you are experiencing in the context of what we have learned today. Share your insights, share your reflections, use the group that we have, the WhatsApp group. Keep posting your questions and everybody jump in and give your reflections and your understanding, because we do learn a lot from each other as well, right? It's not just about going through the theory. Of course, it's very important, but whatever I am speaking is also coming from that theory only, right? And some bit of my own lived experience as well. Okay, so before we go, I would want to discuss this one small bit, which is the most important part of the scriptures, is this, that we are all born with 3 faculties. So we all know body and mind. The third faculty is the intellect, okay? And intellect might sound like intelligence, which is our school system, our education system is also based on intelligence, right? We push our children to mug up, not anymore though, but जब हम बड़े हो रहे थे ऐसा ही था school का system. So we were all, you know, rated or ranked based on intelligence. So intelligence is acquired information, right? And intellect is a faculty which we all are born with, but we don't use it. So it kind of stays dormant. And intellect is basically using this knowledge and making it your wisdom, right? Which we have been doing, but not in a conscious way. So scriptures teach us to use the faculty of intellect and convert all information, all knowledge into wisdom. Okay. I'll just write it down here: body, mind, and intellect. So body is the grossest form, the most tangible layer of our existence. Mind is less tangible, more subtle, right? We cannot see the mind. And intellect is the subtlest layer of our existence. body is responsible for actions and perceptions. And I would ask you all to write this down, because the whole Gita is based on only this, these three faculties, right? So body helps us in taking actions and perceiving the world. And mind helps us to feel our emotions, feelings and emotions. So mind is about feelings and emotions. And intellect is about thoughts, reason, logic, discernment, judgment, all of this, right? So the whole focus of the scripture is on the intellect. Okay. So I'll leave you here because we can go much deeper into all of this, but again, the right dose is important. Any questions, anything that you would like to ask or share?
No, Girish here. Where does experience stand? Because
What do you mean by experience?
experience would be good, pleasant. Or for me, it would be more about learning. I mean to say, not learning. I would say whatever we are right now, it is based upon our experience, our responses to a certain kind of a person or certain kind of a situation is based upon our experience. So
Yeah.
where does experience uh, stand? I mean to say in this three: mind, body, and intellect. Okay, I mean to say what I'm trying to say is yes, it starts from the body. It may it may be existing in all the three layers,
Yes.
but
You've answered. It will exist in all the three layers.
my point is, how do I mean to say, we get reactive, or we I would say I forgot that word.
Interpret.
Not interpret. Cause and effect. I mean to say, someone says something, okay, and my reaction will be that is very natural, which comes out. Okay, that is based upon my experience. So how is that to be detangled? In a way, the experience does not come in what I am. See, example I'll give you.
Understood,
I'm not.
understood. You want to
Ah,
create a moment of pause before you
yes. So
respond back
example, yeah,
in the
example
same
we both.
way that you would
Yeah,
have
example,
responded.
yeah, Sadhna and I. I know in a heated argument I do say something, but this is not what I am. It is my experience, and I would say
So who is
past.
responsible to make that pause or create that pause or press that pause and change that response, that is auto response, into a thoughtful or a mindful response? Who is responsible for that?
It is me only at the end of the day. Yes.
The
So that's why.
intellect.
So direct answer and indirect answer to both is that you have to do the
This is
work.
the most difficult part.
Yeah, we have. So that is why work is important. You work on yourself. Only then the pause gets created. So this reaction to the stimulus, anything that's happening in your environment, you become less and less reactive towards it. You start responding towards it by taking a pause, by being mindful about, you choose. So there will always also be a stage where you will be able to choose your thoughts. Right now, how many thoughts do we think on an average? If you
Thousands.
consider yourself average human being, how many thoughts? Take a guess. Everybody put your guesses here.
60,000.
जो भी है, random number.
There is no number, Mira. So it's like non-stop. I cannot put a number to it. It's infinite.
It is a scientific number, Shweta. I'm sure you fall into that limit. Yeah. So Anita, एकदम मतलब decimal तक जाना था. 67,000. Yeah. So around about 70 to 80,000 thoughts we all think. And 95% of these thoughts are the same thoughts that we have thought yesterday, that we have thought day before yesterday, that we have been thinking since last many months and years, right? And that's why we feel that we are stuck. Nothing in our lives are changing. So actually, this is on auto mode. You're just thinking, right? Like Shweta is saying, I don't even know how many. You're on auto mode. So when you start doing the work, the necessary pause gets created on its own organically. You will start. So I have, with all the work that I have been able to put, I have reached a stage where I feel that I am watching my thoughts, like watching my thoughts. And I am, it's not always though, but I am able to choose what thoughts I want to think, what thoughts I don't want to think. ये हर समय नहीं होता है, लेकिन I am एक glimpse का experience होने लगा है कि I am constantly watching my thoughts. You will get to that stage. So you will not react. You will only respond then. And you will respond in a way which is healthy. You know, it is healthy for my relationship. You will not react. Girish, does that answer your question?
But still remains though.
Sorry?
Experience part still remains though.
The experience falls in all the three faculties, right? And also what Richa is saying, it's a stimulus. We don't, so if we are relating ourselves to the world all the time, every experience that we have in the world becomes even densely coded in our being. Are you understanding what I'm saying? An experience is ephemeral, not eternal. It's a fleeting experience. I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm grieving, I'm jealous, all of those experiences. Or let's say I go to a place, I see a mountain, I feel awe of the mountain. But that experience and that feeling of awe is impermanent. But if I'm a person who is relating to the world so much, right, will take that experience very seriously, take that negative comment very seriously, take everything very seriously. And my life in the present and the future, everything will be run through the lens of that experience. Because I relate to the world in that way, because in some way or the other, I feel whatever is happening in the world is permanent. So that's why we need knowledge that the world is impermanent. I am permanent. The soul is permanent. So whatever work I do with the soul is going to stay with me and is going to transcend beyond lifetimes. Okay.
So I think I can also relate with Girish, Riches. And I think you have done so much work that you are very clear right now. I think there is a lot of clarity. Maybe we don't have that much clarity, but you have like maybe say 60% or 70% of clarity out of the 100%. So for us, I think, I mean, Girish, correct me if I'm wrong, what Girish or I or some of the folks here might be looking at is how to get to that 60%. Right? Because we study all of this.
You will get. That's the journey, Shweta. Wahi pahunchna hai. And it's a journey.
There are steps, right? We have to take.
There are
steps. How do we take those steps? Because as you said, rightly said, after this class, I'm going to go to my children and they're going to create some ruckus. I'm going to go scream back at them. You know, this is going to happen. Then how do I take a pause in that situation, right?
You can't expect yourself to take a pause right away. It will happen with time, with patience, and zero expectations from yourself. All you must expect from yourself is to do the work. Even in words of Swamiji, he says, doing the work. And doing the work might sound very abstract right now. So doing the work with respect to scriptures is do your study every day. I'll write it down. Okay? Study every day for 1 hour. If not 1 hour, 30
That is what I was looking at. Like step by step.
Practical steps.
Practical steps.
Study every day for 1 hour at Satvik hour. Satvik hour is, I have already given, which is between 5 to 7 o'clock. And be flexible. Don't beat yourself up. If you cannot do 1 hour, do 30 minutes. If you cannot do 30 minutes, start with 10 minutes, but be consistent. Within that consistency also, you might feel you are inconsistent. Some days you might not show up, which is fine. Stay on the track. Don't judge yourself. All these are also part of the study, right? कि judgment जहाँ आ गया, वो ego है, you know. So catch hold of the ego. Don't judge yourself. Be kind to yourself. So at Satvik hour, every day, do the study. Right now, you all have this book, Vedanta Treatise. You start from there. Okay, or people who have done Bhagavad Gita with me, you choose whatever you want to study, but do the study. Ultimately, both the books are going to teach you the same thing. Bhagavad Gita is much more subtler. Vedanta treatise is much easier. You start from there. Okay? And reflect. I have given you how to study as well, like listening, watching, reading, reflection, introspection, contemplation. And then Nidhi Asana is allowing that deeper penetration of the knowledge to happen.
Tanu,
Yeah.
maybe if you could explain Vasana, like few of us have already discussed it.
No,
So
I think not today. Because
the
it
next
will be
class,
very.
maybe we
Yes,
start
yes,
with
yes.
the
We
Vasanas
have to.
because
We have to.
what Girish was saying and what Shweta was saying, I think they'll get an idea of what, like I did not purposely say it because I don't want to start putting ideas. Like maybe we start with Vasana next week so that, they get an idea of what they're talking about, experiences. क्योंकि हम ये
वहां से
bifurcation
आते
समझ
हैं
गए हाँ
experiences. हाँ, वासना को
थोड़ा
समझाने
समझ
में थोड़ा टाइम लगेगा. So we'll get to that.
हाँ we'll start with
But
that
you know
थोड़ा सा
what? Also, another thing is don't look for getting answers to all your questions at once. Stay with the questions. Stay with the questions. It is okay to have questions and not have answers to those questions as yet. Does that make sense? Because on this path, what happens is if I have a question, I want an answer immediately. That's also kind of an attachment. So, so ye hoga. Just stay with the question, but question is very important. All your questions are very important. So, Girish, you have already given us the topic for next week. Okay?
Just one last question. One last question. Okay, sorry. See, we have been in touch. Okay, I have done, but I was not able to continue, and my practices have not been in place. But this has been a longing. Okay, in my with me, especially in my office, when someone tries to give me gyan, we have to do this, we have to do that, especially in corporate world. Okay, I'm purely talking about working life. I don't feel I'm meant to be in that place. It is because only there is a pecuniary need. I need to work. I need to have food on my plate and for my family. I have I am there. And it is not that I do not respect my work. I respect my work, but it is at my own pace. So is that something to do with the attachment? Because of late I'm trying to be a little relaxed with my work from last 3 4 years. I like to do things at a certain pace. So is that
Attachment to what? Attachment to what?
attachment to things to work as per my according to me, or
Depend करता
or
है. Depend करता है. Depend करता है. There is no straight answer to that.
And the other part is I am not meant to be in this place. I am here because I have a need.
That's
And
also
this
fine.
would be
That's also fine. So when you say that I want to do thing, you, Shweta is saying I and Girish have the same.
It feels like Girish is saying whatever I want to say. I want to like he's saying exactly the same thing. And I mean how to cut it out? How to cut it out? There is a need. There is a need. There's a monetary
I
need
know.
to be there, but don't want to be there.
Yeah.
And how to just come out of it and live a simplistic
So
life. It's
as
just
we go through
possible.
this journey, sare questions. So saying this from my personal experience is that when you study the scriptures, none of your questions can stay unanswered. So how does that make you feel? You will have answers to everything. Abhi sirf patience chahiye. Patience for the answers to come to you through this class and also through your own reflection and insights. Do study the book that I have asked you to study. Usme se bhi bahut answers aayenge and you might only come and give answers to all the questions that you have. Right? ठीक है?
Yeah.
Chal.
Okay.
Take care. I'll see you next week.
Do we do closing prayer here as well?
Yeah, please do, Sadhana, everywhere. I also share the prayer in the group so that everybody has
Yeah,
it.
I'll share it.
Yeah.
ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
Yeah, thank you. Also, I would encourage before we say goodbye to each other, also encourage to put your questions in the group. And Sadhna, if you would want to answer the question what Girish had, also Shweta has, let's do that in the group. है ना?
Okay.
ठीक
Yeah.
है. और उसके बाद discussions होगा, and then we'll pick it up again in the next week's class with more understanding from a theory perspective. ठीक है? Everyone good?
Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.